thinking of making a move in Wesley Chapel in 2026, but kind of unsure as to what the market might do, you're not the only one. And it's not simple to break down what the predictions might be, but that's exactly what I'm going to do in this video. And based on my 2025 prediction, hopefully it's going to be pretty accurate because I didn't do a bad job last year at all. Now, I study the market for hours every single week, and today we're going to talk about where I see 2026 going in Wesley Chapel as far as inventory, prices, what the interest rates are going to do, what other factors in there might affect the real estate market. And if you've watched my videos before, you know it's not some fluff piece to make you feel good about buying. I give you the raw, honest facts as I see them. So be sure to stick around and watch the whole video. We're going to dive right into it now. Now, the number one thing that everybody asks me when talking about the real estate market is the market going to crash? What are the prices going to do next year? So let's start off by talking about 2026 home prices as far as Wesley Chapel goes. Now, it's worth saying that Realtor.com is predicting that home prices in Tampa in 2026 are going to go down about 3.6%. So not very encouraging news when you look at that. However, in my opinion, Wesley Chapel is going to fare a little bit better. I think the home prices in Wesley Chapel are going to be at worst stable, but in my opinion, probably go on about a 1 or 2% increase. Now, this has been kind of in stark contrast to what's happened over the last couple of years where we've seen home prices drop about 4.5%, 5% in Wesley Chapel. And that's been for a number of reasons. Florida markets struggled in general, but there's a number of things that Wesley Chapel's going through at the moment, which I think is going to prop the prices up. Now, the first thing to talk about is how we as a team are working with so many people in Wesley Chapel at the moment who are actually making the move out of Tampa into the suburbs, and Wesley Chapel is the most popular destination they choose. So immediately there you see a change in the demand as far as homes in Tampa and homes in Wesley Chapel. So that's why I think that Wesley Chapel is going to be propped up. And it's not just people in Tampa that are noticing it. It's one of the most popular areas for people that we work with from moving from out of state as well. And in my opinion, Wesley Chapel is only going to get more and more popular in 2026. So we already know that Orlando Health is building a new hospital there, and then Legacy Wiregrass is building a whole kind of new downtown area. And those are just some of the projects that we're expecting to see really kind of take shape in 2026. There's going to be infrastructure improvements. There's going to be a Whole Foods going in there, which always seems to draw a crowd as well. And there's also some really, really insane communities that are being built over in that area as well with awesome amenities, which is drawing more and more people in there. So the demand in Wesley Chapel looks a little bit different than the majority of the Tampa Bay area. And for that reason, I'm predicting a 1 to 2% price increase in Wesley Chapel in 2026 after a couple of years of steady price decline that we've experienced up until now. And it's worth mentioning that the makeup of Wesley Chapel, or the purpose of Wesley Chapel, is changing a little bit as well. So whereas it's traditionally been this kind of commuter town for people commuting to Tampa, the influx of these new projects as well as businesses investing a whole bunch more money in Wesley Chapel is changing the shape of the jobs market as well, where there's actually going to be a lot more higher paying jobs in Wesley Chapel where people won't have to commute to get those. So all things pointing towards a strong market in Wesley Chapel in 2026. Now, the second thing I want to talk about for market predictions for 2026 is the second most important thing that people ask me about, and that's the interest rate. Now, we know interest rates were down at 2.75% back in 2020, historical lows, and that saw a huge surge in demand of people wanting to make a move. And then go back a year or so ago, they reached a peak of almost 8% and really shocked the market back into reality. And we've seen a lot of people hoping that we're going to see interest rates back down in the 2s or 3s again. However, bad news for you guys. My 2026 prediction is right in line with what National Association of Realtors and Fannie Mae are telling us, which is that interest rates are likely to be around 5.96% by the end of 2026. That's only a quarter of a point below where we're sat today. Not any huge shakes there in the interest rate market. And like I always say to people, be careful what you wish for, because if the interest rate is at 3% again, it's likely because there's been a huge shock to the economy and they're trying to seriously stimulate it. And it's not likely to be good for the housing market if that's happened. Now, what we've seen is we've seen buyers be very, very savvy in this current market to get their interest rate lower. So the first thing we've seen them do is use the softness of the market to get increased seller concessions that they've used to buy down the interest rate. So in other words, if you can get $20,000 off the purchase price, don't do that. Instead, ask for a $20,000 concession, use that money to buy down the interest rate, and that's going to save you a much higher amount of money over the duration of the loan than the simple price reduction would alone. But of course, the other factor in Wesley Chapel is with all the new construction going over there, the builders are falling over themselves to make it enticing to go to them. So we're seeing builders offer great permanent interest rate buydowns as low as 3.99%, but many of them at 4.99%. So if interest rate is a driving factor for you, talk to me and my team. We can help you get a lower interest rate than the 6.25% that we're at today and make it more effective and more affordable for you to buy there. Now, number 3, let's talk about the inventory levels or number of homes for sale that we're likely to see in Wesley Chapel in 2026. And this trend is going to follow pretty much the rest of Florida, where I'm expecting to see a fairly significant rise in the inventory numbers, especially based on what we've seen the last couple of years. So in my opinion, it wouldn't be unusual to see a 8-9% increase in inventory. That's just on the resale side. We know that home builders are also sitting on more inventory than they have done historically. And as they get into more competition with each other, I expect that to stay the same. We're probably going to see more builders' inventory that's available, and the more inventory they have, the better incentives they try to introduce. Now, what does this mean for home buyers? Well, it means more choice. It means you can slow down a little bit, take a breath, and it means you can be a little bit more discerning. It also means you can play home sellers off against each other or builders off against each other to get better deals. So all of those things positive for buyers in the market in 2026. Another reason why we might see a little bit more demand, and another reason why we might see those prices stabilize ultimately over the course of the 12 months. Okay, so I hope you're finding this video about 2026 market predictions useful. 2026 looks like the year that you're going to make a move, whether that's buying or selling. Please be sure to reach out to us. You can call us or text us at the phone number down below. You can email us. You can set up a Zoom in the link that's down below as well. Never a time that's too early to start getting those questions answered, and there's never a stupid question, I can assure you. My team's been selling homes here for 20 years. We're local real estate experts, local real estate nerds, and we love working with people like you on the YouTube channel. So hit us up. We're here for you when you need us, and on video when you don't. Let's dive right back in. Now, of course, we can't talk about market predictions in Wesley Chapel without talking about new builds. And I want to mention them on 2 fronts. So the first one is that the builders are really dominating the market because of the incentives that they're offering people. So I'll take just a couple of examples that I've seen in Wesley Chapel over the last few weeks. One of them is a builder that is offering between $70,000 and $100,000 in free upgrades in the model home. How great is that? It's a really, really tough deal to beat when you're looking to buy new, because you can kind of go in and say, well, I love the house as it is, but let me add this, this, and this as well, and really deck it out how you want it. So free incentives in the upgrade center are left, right, and center at the moment. Builders are falling over themselves for those. But the more interesting move is seeing builders compete more fiercely on interest rates. We all know that interest rates are driving buyer demand, and we all know that buyers see interest rates as being too high at the moment. One of the builders that I saw in Wesley Chapel are doing a 3-2-1 buy down. What that means is for the first year of the loan, it's a 0.99% interest rate, which is insane. Second year is 1.99, third year is 2.99, and then it's 3.99% for the remainder of the 30-year loan. It's likely to be a really, really long time before interest rates get down that low for general market conditions. And what this does is it gives you considerably more buying power. So I don't have the exact numbers, but just consider this, for example, where you might be able to buy a $500,000 new build as opposed to a $425,000, $430,000 resale and pay the exact same mortgage amount. With that being said, which one would you likely want to buy? Probably, most things being even, the new build. So 2026, in my opinion, is likely to see a huge year for home builders. I think they're going to totally dominate the market and make it really, really tough on the resale side. Now, again, this has kind of been an ever increasing trend that we've seen over the last couple of years. And some people have been talking about 2026 as the year where builders contract and actually do less business. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that builders are going to absolutely kill it, especially when you talk about the second part of new builds over in Wesley Chapel, which is the types of communities that we're seeing built over there. So whether it's Chapel Crossings, where they have the lazy river, or whether it's something like Two Rivers, where there's the rumored surf park going in, but in any event, even without that, it's a phenomenal community where they have these little villages set up, each with their own amenities, 10 different builders across all different price points with 100 different floor plans. It's absolutely crazy to see some of these communities being built. It wasn't that long ago where the man-made lagoon at Epperson was mind-blowing, and it kind of feels like that's almost old hat and on the back burner now. So as these communities evolve, more and more people are going to be drawn towards those. Now, that's great for Wesley Chapel in general because people want to be in proximity to that. So people might move close to Epperson Lagoon, for example, without living in there because you can buy the day pass to the lagoon. So it does draw more people into the area, even if it doesn't draw them into that exact neighborhood. So overall, those are likely to keep the buyer demand in Wesley Chapel as a whole pretty high, especially when we see, as like I said, those people moving from out of state to be attracted there and moving outside from Tampa. And then the final market prediction, and this won't surprise many people, I'm sure, is that for 2026, I think we're going to see increasing days on market. So for 2025, that number was about 57 days on market in Wesley Chapel. Not huge, but certainly nothing like it was in 2020 or 2021 when the average days was like 4. I think we're going to be up higher, closer to 75, 80 by the time the year rolls out, particularly with that increased competition from the new builds. And here's the part that's unknown about all of that. When you start getting close to that number of days on market, there's certain people that have to make moves within certain timeframes. And when they have to do something, they're going to make accommodations in other areas, and that's normally on price. We are just starting to see little pockets where there's a desperate homeowner who will go in and undercut everybody by $50,000 just to make the sale. Now, while that doesn't decrease the value of every single home by $50,000, it is part of a weighted average where it is going to affect the home prices. So when I talk about a stable home price environment or maybe a moderate increase in Wesley Chapel, it is highly dependent upon these little pockets staying little pockets and the increase in days on market not being so considerable that we start seeing people making drastic moves to sell. Now, the final market prediction I want to make for Wesley Chapel for 2026, and it's my keyword at the moment. It's not a numerical estimate. This is more a movement from sellers to buyers. And the magic word for 2026 for buyers is leverage. We're likely to see them have much more control, much more power in this market, whether it's choosing between new builds and all of the many communities that are there, or whether it's choosing and playing off resales against each other to be able to get higher closing cost concessions, to buy down rates, or to be able to get more money off the price. Buyers are likely to gain a lot more power in 2026, and they already had a pretty good run of it in 2025, if the truth be told. So if you're a buyer looking to move in 2026, this could be a pretty good opportunity for you. I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't think we're going to see many more years of sustained home price decreases. I don't think the prices are going to get much lower in Wesley Chapel than we're currently seeing them because the demand just seems to keep increasing. And even though there's a ton of new developments going in there and a lot of new builds happening, there's a demand to fulfill all of those new homes being built. So all of that being said, if you're looking to make a move in 2026 and Wesley Chapel is your choice, now might be the time to buy. Now, I will tell you, some of the other areas around there, I think some of those other suburbs are going to continue to see home price decline. So Wesley Chapel is kind of that unicorn out there where I think they're going to buck the trend for a lot of what we're going to see in the Tampa Bay area. I hope you found this useful. I hope you can kind of see where I'm going with some of this. And like I said, I would love to hear your guys' comments. If you're looking to make a move, be sure to call us, text us, email us, or set up a Zoom link. Be sure to check out the other videos on the channel. I've got a ton on here about Wesley Chapel. Please be sure to watch away and let me know what you think on those too. Until next time, guys, hope to show you around town. I'm Ross Hardy from the Hardy team. It's time to love where you live.